Sunday, January 20th, 2019. I'm super excited to introduce Jason Laufenberg from the Awake Souls channel. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well, and welcome to everybody joining us. It's Sunday night, which is generally scripture night, and it will be again tonight. We're going to be going through the 12 patriarchs. Get into, there's some interesting stuff here. Like, these books are wide open and raw. These 12 tribes of Israel, they lay it down pretty straight. It's pretty incredible to read. And we also want to talk about timing of the end. We've got some interesting stuff that we want to go through with that. It looks like we're pretty close to this peace deal being declared. And well, we all know what's going to happen as soon as that happens. And then, Globebusters are back from their break, and they have full-scale, sold-out Flat Earth, and at this point now, we're going to be going through a bunch of clips. If you can't see them as the raw, hardcore Satanists that they are, I'm lost. Like, I really think at this point, you're sort of pathetic. So we're going to show just how open, how bold, how raw they are. And it's going to be quite a night. We also have the eclipse, not the solar eclipse that you and I went and saw, right where the X marks the spot. The 2024 one's going to be crossing that path. But we've got the super blue, super blood, wolf, moon eclipse tonight, and the moon is up. I've got some visibility. There's a little bit of milkiness, but we're going to be keeping tabs on that as well. So Globebusters make a reference to this eclipse, and I think it's sort of an ominous one. I'm looking forward to going through that clip with people. But brother, please tell us what it is that you've been seeing. And I'm sorry, I just rambled on for a while there.
Oh no, it was a good opener. So yeah, happy to be Shabbat. It's a Jewish holiday occurring on the 15th day of the Hebrew month of Shabbat in the current year. To be Shabbat began today at sunset, and it ends tomorrow night at sunset, right? So it's called Rosh Hashanah, and literally means New Year of the Trees. So plus tonight is a super blood moon eclipse. And there's so much going on. I shut everything down today, just brought everything down, and I've been in sort of absorbing, trying to, get a feel for the culture and for what seems to be permeating throughout this reality. I feel like the end is super close. I really do think we're at a, I'm starting to think to myself and my spirit, what should I do with my time? I'm really looking forward to the breakdown tonight that you're going to be presenting with the Globebusters. I caught a couple clips of that. I do have commentary to add, but it'll be great for me because this will be live because I took a break from watching it. So it'll be fresh for me to share with everybody my feelings on these snakes and oil salesmen. But yeah. Let's get this going. I started off with there was a video put out. Maybe should I speed it up? Maybe I should speed it up too. This is about Jared Kushner and a supposed peace deal. Let's check this out, people. Oh, let's say hi to everyone in the chat. Hey, how's it going to Elias, Derek? Super shout out to Derek and super shout out to everybody. Elias,
Yahweh's daughter.
Thank you guys for always being here and really pitching in and helping out this live stream.
Yeah, and Stephen Ford is new, but he said he's been trying to catch up, so that's great.
Yeah, well, there's been some people that have joined in on Beyond Flat Earth on Facebook, the Beyond Flat Earth page. Like it's getting super boosted, as well as what's this guy's name? His name's Jared. I want to give him a shout out. He's actually gone back. He's watching the Beyond Flat Earth. I got a comment on Beyond Flat Earth from him. It's just amazing. So super shout outs to Jared. Hopefully he catches this stream. Let's watch this here.
The birth of evil was foretold in the Omen. A terrifying prophecy was fulfilled in Damien, Omen 2. And next spring, in movie theaters everywhere, you will witness the ultimate challenge to the future of mankind as the trinity of living terror is completed in the final conflict. Damien Thorne is 32, attractive, brilliant, charismatic. To the modern world, he brings a purpose, a vision, a destiny. He's one step away from the most important position on earth.
For more on this, let's bring in one of the lawmakers who will be questioning James Comey, Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz of the House Judiciary Committee. Good to see you today, Congressman.
Good to see you, Harris. Before we get to the judiciary work, I know you just gave reporting on the White House Chief of Staff position.
Yes.
Let me make a prediction for you. Jared Kushner will be the next White House Chief of Staff. I believe that the president views this kind of conflict period coming up with House Democrats as one where he needs the loyalist people closest to him. And I think if it wasn't going to be Kushner, it probably would have been my colleague Mark Meadows. But I'll go ahead and make that prediction that Jared Kushner will be the next Chief of Staff.
As both sides looked to the United States for help in forging a broader deal that envisioned two sovereign states. Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, told the New York Times this week none of the punitive actions against Palestinians had diminished the chances of a U.S. peace plan, which he has been put in charge of working on.
The U.S. president's advisor and son-in-law, Jared Kushner, has met the Palestinian president, Mahmoud Abbas, in Ramallah. Kushner is there to try and revive peace talks between Israel and Palestine. Donald Trump has called it the ultimate deal. Donald Trump has called it the ultimate deal. Kushner had earlier met Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem.
This is an opportunity to pursue our common goals of security, prosperity.
Presidential team. And all eyes are on his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, a political novice who was an architect of the campaign, now emerging as his key confidant.
Jared is a very successful real estate person, but I actually think he likes politics more than he likes real estate. I'm going to tell you.
But with the Trump White House already facing accusations of nepotism and conflicts of interest, the idea of giving a key role to his son-in-law, another political apprentice, is raising serious concerns.
Jared is perceived right now as a very, very powerful man in the land.
He's Trump's golden boy.
Yes.
So yeah, they're just flashing a lot of...
Donald Trump, throughout his career, has always relied on a very small circle of family and a couple of close associates. And in Jared Kushner, he has both. He has a family member as a son-in-law, and also Jared Kushner is a trusted advisor.
The effort will be led by Assistant to the President and Senior Advisor Jared Kushner.
President Trump has given Jared Kushner an extraordinary portfolio of responsibility. That includes bringing peace to the Middle East, reinventing the United States government, and many other issues.
However, just a short while ago, the Kushner team did meet with President Sisi, so it does appear that there was at least a meeting at this high level, but some of the lower level meetings did get canceled. Kushner will also be visiting Israeli and Palestinian leaders here in the Holy Land tomorrow in an effort to jumpstart the peace process. President Trump has called it obviously the ultimate deal, and Kushner is going to be meeting with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas and also Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. But prospects for a peace deal here are very, very low. There are grumblings between Palestinians and Israeli leaders that there really isn't much meat to the effort here. There really aren't any details to sort of try to get this agreement going. And also, Melissa, Prime Minister Netanyahu is facing some serious investigations dealing with corruption scandals. Well. And Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, his support on the Palestinian street is at an all-time low. So neither leader, Melissa, has much incentive to do an agreement here, even if they wanted to. Connor, thank you for that.
The President has referred to the Middle East peace as the ultimate deal. Everyone here knows that. Experts give you high marks for trying, but none of them believe it's possible. Why do you think it's possible?
Jared is such a hidden genius that no one understands.
For you and Nikki Haley.
Jared is such a hidden genius that no one understands.
But his peace plan is indeed very hidden. We're told that it's detailed, but we don't know what the detail is. We're told that there are things both sides will like and both sides will not like
with that. When we started the process of looking at how to create the peace between Israelis and Palestinians, the first thing a lot of people told us was that it wasn't the right time. The conditions weren't right. After years of distrust, we were really wasting our time to do it. The approach we've taken, even Barack Ravid,
he looks plastic like that Zuckerberg dude.
I'm probably doing this way too fast for people in the audience. I'm really sorry, friends. And you guys know I don't think of you guys as subscribers. You're more like my friends. But is it going way too fast?
It's clipping right along.
Kind of sounded like Micro, you know, that guy that used to do those Micro Hot Wheel commercials.
Yeah, well, just so that most people understand, you know, sometimes we speed up clips, slow down clips. Some of that has to do with copyright issues. It helps with that. Some people just speak so slow that unless if you speed it up to like a 2 or more, it'll take you half a day to get, you know, just a few lines out. But some of this stuff we might want to slow down a little bit so that it sinks in, that it doesn't just breeze by.
Well, I'm hoping that anybody that's left here that's watching this in the future, I'm hoping everybody that's in the chat right now is gone. So maybe the people watching now that are going to be here aren't supposed to be quite understanding this yet, but we are. We see what's going on.
That the president injected peace back into the discussions, and that's something we're very proud of because we do think it is achievable.
But in fact, in public, Mr. Kushner and the Trump administration have pretty much sided with one party, Israel.
Mr. President, despite the pundits and so-called experts who said you couldn't, you have retaken Washington for the American people.
I'm sorry, that's really that's a knee slapper if I've ever heard one. For the people.
Yeah, for the people. The billionaire took over the government for the people to save the people.
Modern day Robin Hood, right?
But he's got some dude on his arm that's, you know, dressed like a woman.
Amazonian,
yeah,
Babylonian.
Something's wrong with his picture.
And the puppet strings. This is well done by Lively Loxley. I don't know. I don't really, you know, he does some Christian content, but then he does stuff that's not Christian. But he's a good editor. I'll keep playing it.
You are the greatest friend that the Jewish people have ever had in the White House.
In public, Mr. Kushner and the Trump administration have pretty much sided with one party, Israel, and alienated the other, the Palestinians, who are not even talking to him. So we'll see soon how Jared Kushner applies his genius to that situation, because the president has said the peace plan will be announced in the next 2 to 4 months.
They do a lot of things behind the scenes that I wish more people knew about, because we're a better country.
2 to 4 months, brother.
Yeah, that was back in September, I think. But don't quote me. But I don't know too much about what she's talking about here. Has Jared Kushner been going around crushing it, making huge deals for the United States? Maybe he has. Maybe he's won this huge deal with Mexico. Maybe he's done this huge deal with China. Everybody's prospering. I don't think the United States are in a recession or anything, or Canada, but so this Jared Kushner guy comes on the scene. And here's some clips. This is from the epic Rapture movie series called Lost, starred Kirk Cameron back in the late 90s. See, they don't really make movies anymore like this. This is a good all you Christians out there, you should watch this and then, you know, let me know what you get out of it. But doesn't Jared Kushner, this is the Antichrist in the movie, and he brings about peace. Doesn't he look like Jared Kushner?
Yeah. You know, it's that squeaky clean, you know, you sort of think like Harvard grad, just prim and proper.
American Psycho almost.
American Psycho.
But he'd be more worldwide Psycho.
Yep.
The Antichrist. And so, you know, I am seeing some, we're waiting for the peace sign. Sorry, it's really windy here. There's probably ice smashing against my side of the room here. But yeah, we're hearing that. And then we hear this message from, I've been hearing him say it, but you know, they're ramping it up. Now, I don't know if this guy is a Mossad agent or not, but he's a dual citizen with the United States. But let's listen to him real quick.
News Live is just a quick take, friends of the broadcast. I will be doing a report later this evening. We are here, of course, in Portland, Oregon. But Brother Gary, he had reached out to me and sent me a text letting me know it's being reported. There is more leaked information. It's actually coming from Israeli news in Israel in the Hebrew language, and also Israel Channel 7 News reporting this as well, that the division of Jerusalem will be part of this deal. And the East Jerusalem, part of the Palestinian neighborhoods in East Jerusalem, will become the capital for the Palestinians and 90% of the West Bank will go to them towards being their state. So there, like I said, there's still some sketchy information as of right now, but just like I've been reporting for years now, they've been setting up this infrastructure. I've said this to you guys over and over, and I need to go back and show this all over again. The old information, the very pictures we've taken ourselves, the checkpoints, the moving of the lines back to pre-67 borders. Now, I'm not saying that the two-state solution will be pre-67 borders on everything, but the mere fact that East Jerusalem will be going to the Palestinians is clearly showing that, as Joel Boehnerman, Barry Chamish, ourselves, others, have been reporting now for years that they would divide Israel and Jerusalem as well. The old city of Jerusalem is kind of interesting. They say it's going to be under Israeli control, but it's in conjunction with certain, and they don't name certain group there, as well as the Jordanians. There comes the Vatican right in play. I'm Steve Benoon with Israeli News Live. Erev Tov, pray for us.
Happy to be Shabbat. Yeah, so Jason, that's the peace deal.
Yeah. The dividing of Jerusalem. Right?
Yeah, the peace deal.
Oh, just a second. I put my camera down.
It should be interesting to see what level they go to here. What is that? Oh, it's Pat. It's Pat. Sorry, everybody. Scared me. I think I should probably change it at some point. But so yeah, we've got the possibility that Jared Kushner might be the Antichrist, and yeah, it's to be Shabbat. We got a bunch of stuff going on, Jay. So you take it away.
Yeah. Well, what do you think the chances with headlines like this are that we're gonna actually get to see a peace deal in the Middle East that's been brokered by Jared Kushner? Do you see any possibility of that taking place?
Yeah, and then they're going to set up a new United Nations, and Jared Kushner is probably going to be the judge and jury of it or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe Obama is in the UN and Kushner does this or whatever, but as soon as this peace deal is announced, we're going to see who the players are involved, and we're going to see how they're promoted. And Ronnie and I, of course, will be covering this live every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday night, 8 p.m. Central. And well, what we're going to be doing is showing everybody how the Bible is being fulfilled, who's fulfilling it, and what days we're in. So that's the first part of tonight's hangout here, last call. So did anybody get the sense from this footage that maybe a peace deal is coming soon from the Middle East, that maybe it's already been brokered and that they're just waiting for the right time to reveal it?
Yeah, that's ultimately what I'm getting from this. And 322.
Oh, yeah. That would be well, that's a date that's been used heavily, 322, that number, by the Skull and Bones Society, one of the offshoots of the Illuminati. It's actually the same family that started the Jehovah's Witnesses, that started the Skull and Bones Society. So go figure. The propheticness of that actually works super, super well, considering that we've just come out of winter, right? So pray that you're not in winter, not on a Sabbath. So 322 actually just fits that like a glove. And so all eyes on that. But still tonight, with this super blood full wolf eclipse moon, right? This is also there's a bunch of videos out there that go ahead.
No, you can finish. I have one more clip.
Yeah.
Finish speaking though. I'm sorry.
But there's this group that pinpoints a date in the middle of all these full blood wounds like this, and that all lines up, then this doesn't happen until 2021 again, which 2021 is the midpoint of a 7-year span, where 2024, when we have the great American eclipse again that crosses, like right where Ronnie and I went to for the first one, you know, that makes it look like we're in the beginning here already of the Great Tribulation. But this peace deal, when that happens, then we as true Christians get to expect sudden destruction being upon them. So get ready for things to really ramp up soon as we get this declaration.
Yeah, let your lights shine right now, people. Totally glorify the Father which is in heaven. This is the time where we speak the truth, and we get, like, listen to Daniel here.
How are we shining? Watch ourselves, so we will be ready. So we've seen the one midnight hour possibly at Hanukkah, but then also the strong one, very strongly impressive, at the time of the winter solstice. And so if you went a month and a half correlating out from that, we're still in the third watch too. But either way, still time's running out. And this time of the New Year's, the trees, when the trees are waking and watching, we have that reminder here, overlapped with both of them. This is an important time. We need to be watching, therefore, knowing we are running out of time. So many things pointing here now. We have the Jupiter and Venus conjunction. We have the blood moon. So many things telling us, look up right now. Look up. You see these pictures? You know what this reminds you of? Scripture, the next chapter coming prophetically, what time you're at with the last generation? Do you know what time it is? Do you know what time it is? Are you looking up? Are you watching? Are you watching yourself? Are you trimming your lamp? Are you shining bright? This is what we need to consider, particularly when we look up in the sky even more on top of those other signs. We see back around the time of Hanukkah, just a few days after that, that's when Jupiter was approximately reappearing as a morning star. And that's all these promises. That's how the book of Revelation ends. I am the bright and morning star. So right at the time of Hanukkah, what comes on the scene? The second bright and morning star. They're both now on the scene, Jupiter and Venus. We have both those celestial pictures starting right at the beginning of the third watch, which is what we're supposed to be watching for, the bright and morning star. And friends, it should just make us jump up with hallelujahs when we realize, where is that bright and morning star? Where is it? It's right between the feet of the one who is treading on the adversary. We can go out in the morning, we could see the two morning stars, we can see the adversary, and if we get up extra early, we could even see the stars of the feet on top of the adversary, right where Jupiter is right now. We can see this entire picture of his promises, the expectation that he's going to be making his adversaries, our enemy, the footstool. We can see all these promises coming together right now at a time when we are told to watch and to expect him. Look up. For we know that our redemption draweth nigh.
Amen, man. He's got so much packed into that little section. But that's crazy what's actually happening right now. This is Ophiuchus. I don't know how to say it. But basically he's crushing the adversary. He's stomping on it right now. And Jupiter and Venus are the morning stars, right? They're both on the scene rising. Isn't that crazy? Wow.
That's awesome. I love how wound up he is.
Yeah. Well, he's seeing it all fulfilled. We can see it. All you got to do is look up.
Well, we got a super blood full eclipse moon that I'm so confident that as this progresses, because there's going to be tons and tons of footage of this. We're in the year 2019. Everybody can record it even with their cell phone.
Look at how close it is. It just makes me, I can't even believe that. Is that Venus up here? Wow.
That's a moon. That's a moon.
I don't think, no, that's Venus, bro.
That's Venus?
That's Venus. I told you it's so close. I was looking at his pictures and I was like, wow. But he might be zoomed in on them when he shows it. Where was that clip I was just at? Yeah, we're here. It might be zoomed in a bit. Or is that the moon? You might be right.
Yeah, that looks like the moon.
Yeah, kind of. But
because that would be about the right phase too on January 9th.
And then is this the moon? January 16th. It's at nighttime now.
Yeah.
But yeah, great shots. The stars are super close. Derek Laborde got some nice shots too. They're super close. Venus is super close. That might have been Venus. I don't know, man. It's not worth debating over. But yeah, it's crazy that all this is happening along the ecliptic path right now. That was the last quick update.
That's awesome. All right, so we have Dimitri in the chat that has questions about points 3 and 4 in the description. 3 has to do with this not being the material realm that we're taught by the ancient Pythagoreans. So the ancient Greeks taught atomism, and they said that we're made up of these buckyball-like things. They never touch each other. They're infinitely small. They're full of voidness, and that's what we're made of. And that's actually what scientists or Satanists today teach. So it hasn't changed at all. All they do is they doctor footage. They just show us one little dot on a screen and says that's an atom, right? Well, no, it's not. It's just an ancient Greek philosophy, and we're not made up of those because they're not real. They don't exist. It's just made up in the imagination of some Satanists. We'll be going through tonight some of the proof that we are in some sort of a simulation. It's going to be coming from somebody on Globebusters. It's pretty in your face, pretty telling. And then point 4 is just that the creator of this world is the God of the Bible, which is mentioned over 7,000 times in the Holy Scriptures, YHWH, which is pronounced Yahweh. And we've covered all that too. So hopefully that answers your questions. If you have more, please send them to Ronnie. You want to give your email?
It's awakeeple@gmail.com, AWAKEEPLE@gmail.com.
And I'm Awake Souls, AWAKESOULS@gmail.com. So
thought you were gonna trip up there. You nailed it though. We're just a couple of regular guys that we're made from the same, come from the same dirt as everyone else in this reality. And these guys that are the atomism thing really it really gets me going, man. Show me an atom, show me a quark, or show me any of these things. Show me a DNA strand. Show me it, please. I'd love to see it.
It's all make-believe scientism. Scientism. It comes from Satanists, which got degrees at universities.
Speaking of one, we should segue into Bob.
Yeah, so let's go through. Let me get a screen share going here.
And Dimitri says that he's super cold or whatever. You got to realize that you're not the body. You're in some sort of a simulation / realm. Make sure you're getting enough protein. Eating while your body is digesting. If you're eating something healthy or whatever, your body temperature will rise.
All right, so this we can probably do at 1.75. I'll adjust it if I need to. So this is Globebusters today. Now, they paved the way for this fair use criticism, right? Because they were using clips today. They were worried about getting a strike. And so they paved the way. They were using clips from Godless Engineer. We might see some of that. And so this is fair use for criticism. And we'll just go through it because they're so slow. We'll stop it. Just jump in anytime you want to, brother. Some of these clips I might be playing a little long. I'm trying to, they drag on. I've got a bunch of tabs up here, so we'll see how it goes.
Celestial objects, maybe we can't even see them. It's an optical illusion. And
So anyways, and with Isaac Newton, there we get gravity. I'm sure most, he was a member of secret societies and assume that he would.
All right. So right away, this guy, we've pulled a click in the come along. The new video I put out where there's a footage of one solid tree taking out another tree with the use of a come along. Right here on Globebusters, we have the admission that Sir Isaac Newton was a member of a secret society. They reference the Freemasons in this hangout a number of times. I'm going to slow it down just a little bit.
Release his biggest secrets to the world of the mass public while he's a member of a secret society is completely illogical. So there's definitely reason to question Newton and his books like The Universal Law of Gravitation.
Yeah, absolutely. Good point. Those Freemasonic secret society members are not very forthcoming with secrets, are they? Who would have thunk?
Exactly. So it seems totally illogical to think that secret societies would release their greatest secrets to the mass public, who they kind of call sheep and idiots. So that's quite contradictory to their own society's purpose.
Yeah, that's why there's absolutely two different types of education: the elite's education, and then the the regular people, the common sheep education.
Right.
Don't get the whole picture, and in fact, I think are purposely obfuscated in a lot of ways, so that we're literally looking at things the wrong way. And of course, we that's one of the things we talk about a lot. On
so that's what he does.
That's what he does. That's what
he tries to, but it's so obvious.
So obvious.
Busters is how the typical indoctrinated person that's been through university is taught a specific way of thinking, how to think, how to solve problems, how to approach the problem, how to analyze it, and it's all very much in a nice neat little box, right?
Diagram to explain how the sun sets south of west, right? It's exactly what they're doing.
Oh, they used the teacup thing in here again.
The CC 3033 caustic cup thing.
Yes.
Come on, man, that's so retarded. You can't shine a light into a coffee cup and tell me that's how the sun works in the sky. That's it's getting down to the point where if you're following this, I don't know what to say, man. It's really bad.
Yeah, you have to be super mentally retarded or a member of one of their secret societies. It's the only options.
Yep. Because it's blatantly obvious. You cannot, if you try to come in a debate with me and Jason, and you bring into the debate out of your grocery shopping cart a bunch of ad hoc theories that you've taken from the globe, you don't think we're going to destroy you?
And watch the mimetic. See, they're doing all this to confuse and support heliocentrism while they're doing their fake flat Earth bit.
Yeah, they've always been doing that, right? Remember, they were showing us the ISS footage of the globe for 2 years, 3 years. They were flashing the globe on the screen.
It's all over this hangout. It's all over it.
You know what that is? That's reconfirmation.
That really doesn't.
It is. Oh, they pull out all the stops here, man. It's wide open now.
Huge disservice, I think, to a lot of people. So yeah. So anyway, getting back to the the specifications of the eye and how the eye works and how it is bringing.
So that might be the end of that clip. Let's go on to the next one here. Oh, that's not.
That's Dave. Got a shout out from Simon.
Yeah.
And QNP too. A bad
QNP.
one though. Bad one. Really bad Q. You're just way off.
Q absolutely blew it there. It was so bad. All right, so this is getting interesting. This has got their guest on there who I've never heard of before, but wow, wait until you find out some of the work that this guy is doing towards the end.
What do you mean?
It's amazing.
Wow, it's a wow.
Yeah,
it's his video they play.
They don't. No, that's a different video. There's so many goodies towards the ends of this. It's unreal. But right here, we're getting into simulation proof. Get ready.
South of this, this line right here, you could see there's a black line. It's hard to see. You have to zoom in and get the right angle, but you can see this, these black lines, and more prominently right here, it's very obvious that these pixels are being stretched towards the middle. That got me looking into Antarctica,
And one of Richard Byrd's older maps, he shows. I can't pull it up right here. It's in my video called "Mountains Are Disappearing in Antarctica," but in Richard Byrd's map, he shows, and in his book, he explains how there's mountain ranges at the Rockefeller, well, just one of them. And the one that I focused on is the Rockefeller Mountain Range. And you can see here, Google's labeled it Rockefeller Mountains. And, there's maybe 6 little rocks sticking up above the snow.
I think I rewound this too far before.
There's an anomaly.
Yeah. Let's see here. Rambles on for a little bit. What was that? Got an email from Timmy.
Wow. I guess he doesn't want us talking about this.
Where is? I'm sorry. I thought I had this queued up to the right spot.
That's okay, brother. Just focus on dialing it back in.
Yeah, what he talks about is, we've got, he mentions that Admiral Byrd was a Freemason, that it was a Masonic expedition, right? So we've got some confirmation of Admiral Byrd being a Freemason, but these guys are warning you to not trust the Freemasons while all this information that he's going through right here is from Admiral Byrd. So they tell you, don't trust the Freemasons. Admiral Byrd was a Freemason, and this is what he said. They literally do that. Where is, he goes into an explanation of mapping this. I don't want to miss that part.
There's a map. There's coordinates. He's talking about mapping it now.
78. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, just that while you were looking for that, I was just going to say that Wikipedia shows Amundsen Scott at precisely 90 south, which obviously is a huge contradiction here. But I'm sorry, I diverted you. Go ahead, back to what you were saying.
So if we look at Byrd's map, we got. Let's get the exact GPS coordinate. This comes from out of Byrd's book. It's not something that I got it from his book. He said it begins at 78 south, 155 west. So
well, I would mention quickly, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Byrd is probably one of the only people ever in the world that can speak with any sort of authority on this topic. So, the people always try to attack.
John, sit back down.
This still isn't the clip. I'm looking for.
We don't need to hear John. That's a type of a map right there. That's a 3-dimensional. That looked like series maps.
It was.
Remember?
It was. The Sun and Moon group.
Samfu or whatever, right?
Come on.
He's just going on.
Might give up on this link and try the next one.
And I seen that caustic cup thing. Those are all shades of concave Earth, right? That's really where they're going.
Well, they're trying to use it as a dome thing. Here, let's try this one.
Dome's going to turn into like the other parts of the Earth. The dome's in the center, right? Like Lord Stephen Christ says.
Yeah. The a-hole of the Earth.
That's what they're going at.
And there's also something else to consider here. Because I read stories like Shackleton, who, if you don't know about Shackleton, I really advise to read his story. It's incredible, but or at least watch a video about it. But anyways, he basically traveled 700 miles in a lifeboat with 5 guys, and they, their destination was a tiny little island in the middle of the ocean down there, and they were able to hit that island after a 700-mile journey in a lifeboat by using celestial navigation and essentially assuming that the distance between lines of longitude is getting closer the farther south you go. And so I scratched my head, like, how did Shackleton get from go 600 miles and pinpoint that island?
Just wait though, because what he's admitting right now is that at the lines of longitude in the south,
that
the sun slows down, right, and that the distances become closer.
That's true.
That's true. And he's actually conceding that point right now. He's trying to reconcile it because he recognizes the story of these guys going south, but they're using latitude and longitude, and they actually hit their little destination. And what he's trying to do is reconcile that against the AE map and model, which he understands it wouldn't work.
No, it's impossible.
Right?
Yes, the sun would have to be traveling super fast to be traveling around the 60,000 mile ring, right? Compared to the center of the ring.
So he concedes this point here. It's really interesting.
And if they had assumed the distances were shorter than, it scratches my head. And so anyways, one other thing to consider is to have a sphere Earth, at least have a sphere Earth that's moving around the sun, you have to have magic, which is length contraction, time dilation, and mass increase. And magic. So, to have a spherical Earth, you have to get these.
Yes, he brings in magic. You have to have these are the things he lists. They come up again. Let me slow this down a little bit. Oops.
To have a sphere Earth, at least have a sphere Earth that's moving around the sun, you have to have magic, which is length contraction, time dilation, and mass increase. And so, to have a spherical Earth, you have to get these extremely, you basically have to believe in magic and believe in something that's never been observed. And so on that note, I question, is it possible to have a flat Earth map, which actually has the lines of longitude getting closer together, south of the equator?
He's going.
Does this sound interesting, brother?
Yeah, he's headed in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Listen. Oops.
It seems impossible. How could that possibly work?
Well, I'll tell you one. I'll tell you one real quick. Flat Earth Crush has come up with an idea where basically you've got I forget what it's called now, but you've got the convergence of the Latin longitude lines in the north 90 degrees and convergence of the Latin longitudes at 90 degrees south. And it's pretty interesting. I forget what he calls it, but check out Flat Earth Crush. And the video was from maybe 3 months ago.
You remember that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Flat Earth Crush took a stereographic map, just one that's distorted.
Bad one, yeah.
Into a concave Earth is what he was showing. And so he gets the big shout out from John here, but they're heading deep into our territory right here.
It's called a New Working Flat Earth Model. It's pretty interesting stuff.
I'll check that out. And to say, I basically my message is, hey, if it took someone smart like Einstein to complete the sphere Earth heliocentric model and come up with mathematical magic of length contraction, time dilation, and mass increase, well, then what it's possible.
What you're saying.
It's possible that the lines of it's possible that through some math that we just haven't figured out yet, or has been hidden from us from secret societies, that it is possible to have a flat Earth with lines of longitude getting closer together south of the equator.
Yes,
I wouldn't rule it out.
Yes, and he actually states. And I'm not sure if it's this clip or one coming up, how easy it is to do, how he UV unwraps onto a sphere.
Yeah, okay.
This is so basic, so simple that anybody can do it. He does it all the time.
It doesn't work with the Mercator map, though. leaves you a big hole at the top and the bottom of the Earth. It doesn't give you, the only one that works is the map that we use when you wrap it to get the proper elephant.
Can't use a round one either.
Nope, only the one map works with
Square.
one click.
Stereographic, orthographic.
Yep, and when you divide it.
The 24-hour sun.
No.
Actually, in Antarctica.
I will share my screen once more, and because I just want to share. I hate to be a proponent of the sphere Earth, but
if I can just mention something real quick, this is still on the top.
He hates to be an opponent of the sphere Earth.
I don't know if that's what he meant. I think he.
No, it is. He does that so many times. It's unbelievable. He wants to go around Antarctica to prove that Earth is a sphere. That's what he wants to be funded to do. He wants to travel around Antarctica to prove that Earth is a sphere. He says it over and over and over.
It doesn't prove it's a sphere. Nope. Totally. And I'm not against him doing it because I believe my bet is on that it's going to be some weird duck shaped, but the distance from one side to the other is going to be great. I don't know if this guy here is going to be able to fund that, but hey, good luck to him.
Topic of the latitude and longitude lines converging in north and south. If you were to take the nullschool.net AE projection that we can no longer access, I believe, unless they did bring it back, and place the central point, as opposed to placing it over the North Pole, place the central point of the AE projection over essentially Egypt, which is interesting when you look at the Great.
He goes to Egypt.
No, yeah, that's Bob's big thing that he was trying to say when they were reshaping the map, and the prime meridian is exactly where it needs to be. People, sorry.
It's so Pythagorean, man. He goes right to the pyramid, and then he's going to even admit here that he says some weird, wacky thing about it. But yeah, those pyramids, only a couple hundred years old, Freemason hoax creation, and that's where they take it.
Does this guy at any time actually do any UV unwrapping?
Nobody mentions it.
He just talks about it.
He says it's so easy. Anybody can do it. He talks about, well, you'll hear how everything that we see right now is explained by the way you would make a simulation these days.
He said that? Those are almost your words, word for word.
Right.
Well, you've been saying that for 2.5, 3 years now. But, I hear you. I agree. I tried to make one. We got videos of it, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if there's more to this clip or if I should be jumping to the next.
Pyramids conundrum, but anyway, place it over Egypt and you get the effect where you have the latitude and longitude lines all converging and sort of curving around to meet themselves in the north and south, 90 degrees north, 90 degrees south latitudes.
No,
gotcha.
That AE map no school has no 90 degrees south. You dolt. How stupid is this guy?
Every single direction is 90 degrees south from the North Pole.
Error. Sorry, there is no 90 degrees south on that map. You have to use the one that we share, the oblique Mercator projection.
Have to.
I'm sorry.
And with the that's something I'm gonna have to look into and check out that video you mentioned, because I think it's possible. I think it's just a very complicated thing that isn't as simple as common sense thinking. But anyways, on the 24-hour sun, I personally do think there is a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. The reason why is because of all the books that I've read, and all these guys, way back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, every single one of them talk about the midnight sun and describe it in different ways.
So yeah, they do midnight sun, 24-hour sun. What they talk about? Yeah. There's a midnight sun. Very common.
I heard the final note on their topic was that they believe that there might be 24-hour daylight. Right, in the south, but there's definitely a 24-hour sun up all day in the sky in the north. They said, right?
Because Bob's played wiffle ball under it.
Yeah, they can't. They can't take that one back. Bob is the only one that said he's ever been, in the northern Antarctic Circle, right? No one else on YouTube in the flat Earth communities has ever admitted to being there. In the northern Arctic Circle, except for Bob, and he played wiffle ball with his uncle, but he didn't film it. And when they say the midnight sun, this is the funniest thing. You know, the next word comes is set, right? They also, so me and Jason did the research. Yeah, there are some places in the northern areas of the earth that the sun sets after midnight, but it sets. And D Marble, Bob says D Marble, even everyone's seen it. D Marble filmed it last year. D Marble filmed the sun setting and doing the exact path that we would demand. Point for point. We've got it on our channels. So Bob, and I could just go on and on and on and on.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here.
Place the central point, as opposed to placing it over the North Pole, place the central point of the AE projection over essentially Egypt, which is interesting when you look at the Great Pyramids conundrum. But anyway, place it over Egypt, and you get the effect where, you have the latitude and longitude lines all converging and sort of curving around to meet themselves in the north and south. 90 degrees north, 90 degrees south latitudes.
Gotcha. Huh. That's interesting. And with the that's something I'm gonna have to look into and check out that video you mentioned, because it's I think it's possible. I think it's just a very complicated thing that isn't as simple as common sense thinking. But anyways, on the 24-hour sun, I personally do.
Him putting everything Egypt centric is like what the fallen angels did, right? The bad ones. That's what they did. They brought the stars and the moon and the sun down to worship at their feet. They did something really bad, and John's just super promoting it, and it's really bad. I think he's going into the ring laser talk on this clip.
Okay.
So, all right, guys. So it's 3:30 now, so I want to move on to our main subject. We'll kind of move away from this. Has been a fascinating discussion, Ryan, by the way. You're a great guest. Absolutely love you being here. Appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
So, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to move on now. And as many of you know, last year, Jaron and I, as well as Patricia Stair, Mark Sargent, and Nathan, and so a few other people, were kind of in these starring roles in this movie called Behind the Curve. Okay,
starring role in this movie, Behind the Curve. And we've already shown that this was a movie by Mark Sargent. It's right on Amazon, by Mark Sargent. And we saw the movie. I actually bought it off of Amazon. We watched it live on the channel. And you can clearly see in this mockumentary that Bob says that he did an experiment that proved that Earth moves 15 degrees per hour. And Ronnie, you really kept pushing on the issue. And here's finally the response.
But the response isn't to me, though.
No, it goes to Godless Engineer, who's fake opposition on the Glober side. It's really sick, man.
I can tell you right now, my comments are, where is the footage? Now we're talking about an experiment. There was never any documentation ever done, but yet we got Bob defending against who's defending against. And I just think it's the absolute perfect example of what the Globebusters really are and have been for the last 4 years. They are the limited hangout. They just go in a cyclic motion and they just hit you with globe propaganda, nonsense about UFOs, Bigfoot, and nonsense and refraction and electromagnetic universe crap. All like, it's so weak.
He's going to admit that Earth moves 15 degrees an hour, and he has no evidence for it, and he would be the first person on Earth to have ever proven Earth moving. They actually cover that Earth is proven to not move. That's the idiocy.
And they make diagrams, models. They draw it out. Bob's talking. It's like a higher level production, and Bob's trying to act like, oh, they just clipped that and arranged it against me. And like, he directly was on point with his propaganda the entire piece, and it's obvious. I don't know how. When I heard it, I was like, wow, Bob's gonna win a Nobel Prize. Pun intended, right?
Yeah.
It's unbelievably stupid.
It is. It's really stupid. Anybody, I seriously have zero respect for you if you follow these people, because you're either stupid or part of their secret society. Either way, zero respect.
And, you know, it was okay as far as the presentation, at least specifically as far as like, you know, Mark and Patricia and stuff like that. But I think that the filmmaker had a definite bias against anything technical being presented against it. And I think it shows very much in the way that they edited this movie together. So anyway, it came out, and then there's this guy named Godless Engineer.
They don't even touch on that.
They don't touch it.
That was just as stupid. I don't see the light.
And this guy,
he's not biased at all.
Oh no, not at all. So yeah, his name's John Gleason. But anyway, he is obviously completely anti-flat Earth, and he comes out with this video, and I'm going to play this particular segment of what he says and make commentary on it. And this is fair use, so don't be striking us on it. Not that I have much faith that wouldn't happen, but anyway. So I'm going to play what he says, and then we are going to offer our rebuttal, which has already been offered before, and indeed was sent to the filmmaker Daniel Clark, and he just conveniently ignored it because that would have completely interfered with his agenda on what he was trying to do, in my opinion. So let's go for it here. We're gonna play this, and here we go. And again, this is fair use, including the Behind the Curve documentary, because we are commenting on it, we are critiquing. It falls under fair use in every way, shape, and form. Here we go.
Now, there are two experiments that are highlighted in this documentary that really shows the mindset of the Flat Earth community. We have Bob Nodell from Globebusters and Jaron from Jaronism. Jaron is also part of Globebusters,
Right, so he finally gets to the point of explaining the flaw. Let's see this clip.
Openly on Globebuster. It's there to see, people. I came out with it, and I certainly gave our rebuttal.
I don't remember Bob ever discussing that. He does this too. He used to do it when he was bringing out his new map. He would just tell people it's linked below. We did it at such and it never existed.
Never existed. Just made up.
Lying. He does this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Call you on it, Bob.
And the science of people, physicists and scientists, for over 100 years that have confirmed essentially exactly what we found and our interpretation and explanation of it. So,
do you get that?
Oh yeah.
The scientists for 100 years have been saying and confirmed his results that it's rotating 15 degrees per hour. That is what he said. He's going to Godless Engineer and be like, what are you complaining about? Our results proved what scientists have been saying for like the last 100 years. That's what he's saying here. Like, I'll do normal speed.
$8,000. That's just ridiculous. I don't even know where they make this stuff up from.
Yeah, I came out with it openly, absolutely openly on Globebuster. It's there to see, people. I came out with it, and I certainly gave our rebuttal. And the science of people, physicists and scientists, for over 100 years that have confirmed essentially exactly what we found and our interpretation and explanation of it. So,
okay.
Interpretation and the explanation of the science that we found.
Yeah, listen to this. He's saying our results
and the science of people, physicists and scientists, for over 100 years that have confirmed essentially exactly what we found and our.
That's what he's saying. He's saying scientists, what we found. The Earth is moving 15 degrees per hour. That's what scientists have been saying. It's confirmed. That's what he just said.
Interpretation and explanation of it. So we'll continue on.
Well, it's like I said though before. They're not going to battle you with facts or logic or.
We will.
Your own words. You just said that you confirm the Earth is spinning.
That's an absolute lie.
The Earth, and that it in fact was registering the motion of the sky. Okay, so there you have it. That's what I said in the movie, that we were looking for ways to actually disprove that the assertion that it was measuring the rotation of the Earth, and instead prove that it was registering the rotation of the etheric luminiferous ether, if you want to say, drag over the Earth.
The etheric luminiferous ether. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
All right, listen.
Rotation of the etheric luminiferous ether, if you want to say, drag over the Earth that is coming from the sky.
All right, so this is what it all boils down to, and this is what the argument has been since the days of Pythagoras. Either Earth is moving and the sky is fixed, or the sky is moving and Earth is fixed. Now, they've drawn it into a false dichotomy of it either being we're on a fixed Earth and there's an ether, all right, this luminescence ether, that is the satanic term for the sky moving, or Earth is moving. And you'll see that the Globebusters, they're actually on the Earth moving side. That's what this is all about. The 15 degrees per hour rotation that Earth is moving. They're out here to confirm that, even though they're the only ones that supposedly have ever had evidence of it.
And by the way, there's a lot of science to back this up, that it is the sky and not the Earth. So again, there's another strike for you, John. You completely got that wrong. I stated it openly, exactly what our intentions were. And I will also elaborate and tell you how and what we did to basically prove our assertions. And I dare you to prove us wrong. But let's continue on.
What is this?
Whoops, go ahead.
Was this a ring laser gyro?
It's a fiber optic gyro, and they operate virtually on an identical basis. The only difference is, instead of on the ring laser gyro, where the optics are going through free space inside of it, they are instead going through a fiber optic line. So, but the principle of operation is identical in the two.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. Let's continue on. The sky.
Next, Bob decides that he's going to encase his gyroscope into a zero Gauss chamber in order to deflect the heavenly energies from affecting the gyroscope.
Further tries to indoctrinate people into saying that he's detecting the Earth moving. Because now he's taking away the sky. Where is this zero Gauss chamber?
But he's supposedly using a ring laser gyro to prove that the sky is moving. Do you see the problem there? That's what he actually says. See,
total contradiction.
Yes, he's saying that the 15 degrees per hour rotation was not Earth, but his ring laser gyro. They were trying to prove that it's the sky moving,
picking up the drag left behind by the stars, moon, and sun, and some
the
sort
ether.
of electrical ether substance that's flowing along with it,
the heavenly energies. And then they use dithering and a whole bunch of other like made up nonsense fake science terms, and it's just nothing but pure Satanism. It's magic that they're
and they're giving us animations like NASA.
And so they make Bob out to be an absolute idiot with this whole zero Gauss chamber, that he's going to put his ring laser gyro inside of this device here and then test it. But even Bob admits that, it didn't do anything. It still proved that Earth was moving. That's
he doubles down.
Yes. Okay, now the reason that we had come up with that, and it wasn't me that came up with this, it was a kind of a collaborative effort of spitballing ideas in FE.
in FE Core. Collaborative effort.
That's the scapegoat, right?
Yes. It wasn't me. It was FE Core, who their new guest is being welcomed in as a new member.
Okay.
Core is, we had already come to the conclusion that what we were registering were dielectric energies, and not necessarily magnetic or directly electrical, but dielectric. Dielectric is kind of an energy that is.
Yeah,
this is if he's made a Faraday cage, there's no outer interference going on electrically, so he's speaking completely backwards as to what he's saying that his experiment proved.
Yeah, well, just wait. When they actually prove that he calls them EM frequencies or electromagnetic, would throw off his ring laser gyro. So what he's telling people is in the Faraday cage, it still appeared the Earth was precessing 15 degrees per hour. But when I took a magnet up to the ring laser gyro, it would make it process. So he holds a magnet up to it and it throws it off kilter. It's that bad, man. It's that bad.
90 degrees out of phase with these magnetic energies. Okay. So we were thinking, we don't know if we can actually shield this or not, but let's try a few things and see if it works. So the first thing that we came up with is the idea of possibly using a zero Gauss chamber. What a zero Gauss chamber is it's basically a shield of all magnetic energies. It's kind of like a Faraday cage, except it's a lot higher attenuation rate in it. So that was the first thing. So Rick went out and he purchased a zero Gauss chamber, and we tried this, and lo and behold, no effect.
Yep.
Come on, listen to this, guys. This is an absolute fantasy concocted in Bob's mind, right? This zero Gauss chamber. He's detecting the spin of the Earth. This is just.
Well, he's already detected the 15 degree per hour rotation. Now he's trying to come up with ways to prove that it's not the Earth moving, but it's actually the sky.
But what he's really doing is supposedly debunking anyone debunking his claim.
Yes.
All right. So, and again, we reported all of this. I talked about all of it. Let's continue.
Because he cannot accept the fact that the world is actually spinning. When that fails to deflect the heavenly energies, he plans on encasing his gyroscope in a bismuth chamber.
Okay, yes, that was another idea that we had kicked around because bismuth is highly diamagnetic, and we were thinking that, well, maybe that will allow us a little bit of shielding, right? And we never actually were able to do that because bismuth, it's very difficult to cast, especially in a container that is large enough to hold the fiber optic gyro apparatus. But it was something that was kicked around. I did talk about it with Daniel there. That never actually manifested. We never actually did that because it was just very much too cumbersome, too expensive, and very difficult to do. So that never happened. But let's continue.
Which will also not deflect the heavenly energies. The documentary actually does a really good job of displaying how badass backwards this is from the actual scientific method. See,
really, I have to wonder what the actual scientific method would be in going about trying to change this. Actually, I know what the actual scientific method is.
This is so bad. This is the worst stage fight I've seen on YouTube. This is horrible.
It's really bad.
John Gleason, and we're going to discuss that, and you're dead wrong, and you don't know what you're talking about. Is somebody going to say something?
No, I'm just going to laugh at that it's funny. When you're trying to disprove something, I don't think that's going...
Let's move on. Oops.
It's windy here.
Yeah, I thought I heard your home coming down earlier.
Bob here is testing to confirm his bias instead of testing to know the truth of reality. I mean,
oh, am I really? and you know this how, John? That I'm testing. Obviously, yes, I do have a bias towards flat Earth. Yes, I admit that. You have a bias towards ball Earth. But the reality is we're looking at this from a scientific point of view and trying to understand exactly what is causing the true cause of the readings that we're getting from this fiber optic gyro, right? And at the time of this, by the way, at the time of this recording, I really had not put together the research that had been done by Sanyak. Even though I'd lectured on it, it didn't ring a bell, which was crazy, but eventually it did. But I hadn't put together the science and how it was applicable from Sanyak, from Airy, from Michelson, from Morley, from Gale, and Einstein, in fact, that concerned this directly. So no, when we saw it, we were taken aback, because.
Come on, Bob.
He said he hadn't put it together yet, even though he had lectured on it. I thought that was hilarious.
As I had been saying on Globebusters, before that I was certain that, this would be the proof that we need to show that the Earth is not moving. And of course, when we picked up that 15 degree hour drift or rotation, we were all blown away by it. And it's like, what?
When we picked up that 15 degree drift, we were all blown away by it.
Wow.
So he's once again reconfirming right here that they measured 15 degrees of drift.
Without any evidence.
No. No.
Wait a minute. What's going on here? What it was, we're going to get to in a minute, but let's let Hosehead finish his point here.
What makes him think that the gyroscope is actually detecting the movement of the sky rather?
Well, I'll tell you what makes me think it. First of all, at this point, let's just say 2 words: Aries failure. But let's continue.
Than the movement of the Earth. The gyroscope isn't physically in the sky, Bob. All this means is that Bob doesn't know how the fuck a gyroscope works. I mean,
now that's just ignorant. The gyroscope isn't in the sky. Really? Does it need to be? Does it need to be in the sky to pick up these energies? Do you have to be?
Yes. Would you test the lake from the cottage? Would you? I don't know. You think you want to go in the water, right?
It's that bad. It's that bad. Wow. Who falls for this crap, man? Who does?
Inside of a radio transmitter to pick up the RF frequencies? Get real. That is the stupidest argument ever. So no, we're not even going to acknowledge that.
Yeah, he's not even going to acknowledge that.
I know something that he really won't acknowledge.
He wants to use a ring laser gyro to measure the movement of the sky, and he's making it sound like it's stupid to argue that, hey, your experiment doesn't measure the movement of the sky. Doesn't do that.
It's patently absurd, these assertions. And yes, I do understand quite well how a gyroscope works. I've been working with them for quite some time. I am fully aware of how they work. They're in aircraft. I've done lectures on them. I know exactly how they work. So again, this is just another statement of utter ignorance from this clown. Let's continue.
I mean, it's ridiculous to think that heavenly energies are emanating and affecting the gyroscope.
Really? Is it? Then why is it that even mainstream science acknowledges the fact that there are certain celestial alignments that absolutely are tied to things like volcanoes, earthquakes, things like this, and these are provable and have been proven to coincide directly with heavenly alignments, heavenly energies. So to say that this is ludicrous, then all you're doing is you're denying your own science that you're talking about here.
Now all of a sudden, Bob is promoting etheric energy, heavenly bodies like a spiritism, and
it's Antichrist.
He's been so rabidly anti-spiritual the entire time. So he's just a walking conflict right here.
Mm-hmm.
See what we got here.
We do.
Of course you do. Now on to Jaron.
Okay, well, we won't go over what's going on with Jaron because again, it's another load of crap. Now,
we don't have time to go over everything.
Because it's another load of crap. It's so funny when they speak the truth like this, man. Listen to this.
Okay, well, we won't go over what's going on with Jaron because again, it's another load of crap. Now, let's talk about what is actually happening. All right, so one of the things that we did do after this that I think, and of course this was not included at any point, is finally Rick was able to get a hold of something that is called a Helmholtz generator, okay? And essentially what this device does is it generates a very intense EM field, okay? And when we put the fiber optic gyro in the presence of this Helmholtz generator, lo and behold, we were able to affect the readings that were coming forth from the fiber optic gyro. Now,
you get that?
Yes.
It's got a super strong EM field, which electromagnetic, right? It's a electromagnet. He uses a big, awesome science word for it or whatever. He was able to put this magnet next to his ring laser gyro, and he was able to throw it off a little bit.
If the Earth was truly moving and it was actually registering the motion of the Earth, there is no way that we should have been able to influence it with a strong EM field. And yet...
Oh, man. So magnets don't pick up cars, right? It works against gravity. It's pretty bad.
Ooh. We were. And did, okay? So that's one point. Now, great. So that right there is good evidence towards the idea that there was some other energy that is coming into this fiber optic and ring laser gyro, and we've never even hidden that fact. When I talked about the ring laser gyros, I talked about the idea that in Honeywell's Adiro unit, that the pilots are instructed that when they do this...
Oh, man.
He got me there. That's what... Oh, this guy is too much. Has he been practicing this for the last 4 months while he's been on vacation?
Yeah, it's
pretty bad.
It's really bad.
He sounds like a Pythagorean more, each word too.
Every word. All right, so we got, we'll get back to this guest guy here. This is interesting because it takes it back to this, either Earth is moving or it's not. Now, the Globebusters say it is. That's what they're saying here. They've doubled down. They've responded to this accusation that they said it was moving, and they have come out and told you, yes, it is moving.
In their report, there is no mention of any conclusions they draw. They simply state the result. Here, surely we can conclude that there is an ether, and either, 1, the Earth is rotating 1 revolution per day, or 2, the ether is rotating around us 1 revolution per day.
All right. So the same exact thing happened with Michelson Gale. Okay. They detected this rotation of the ether. And yes, there is a conclusion.
It's not the same. They detected the stars were moving, not any substance. They just called it an ether.
Just call it the ether.
That we have to draw. Either the Earth is rotating 1 revolution a day, or the ether is rotating around us revolution.
That's a false dialectic. And then this was covered earlier. They talked about Jaron has labeled it our atmospheric dome.
Personal atmospheric dome, yeah.
Yep, he coined that term.
We call it the circle of sight.
Yeah, within what we see within our circle of sight. It's 360 degrees around. And generally this circle is confined to 3 to 10 miles on the average, unless if you've got some extensive elevation, which you can see a little bit further. But I'm going to have to find that clip again where he talks about how this all works in a game. I got to find that one again.
Revolution per day. Wow. Well, how do we figure out which is which? Well, as I just showed you, when we use the Helmholtz coil and we're able to actually interfere with that reading that we were getting back from our fiber optic gyro, that tells you straight up that it is a field that is incoming to the fiber optic gyro and not the internal motion being caused by this, what's called a Sagnac effect inside of the fiber optic gyro. So let's continue to listen to what Malcolm says here.
That it was item 2 that was correct had already been demonstrated by Airy in 1871.
Yeah.
As we have shown in a separate YouTube video given here below,
Airy's
his results
failure
show
right now. This is what Bob thinks he's done. It's a joke. He doesn't have any evidence of it at all.
No evidence.
But he's trying to tell you that this experiment would have been the opposite way, right? The direction of the light moving would have altered in the path, not the way that it actually did, right? With the sky moving, not the Earth, right? But Bob's literally telling you he's detected the Earth is moving. So what does that mean for this experiment?
He's contradicting the results. He's saying the Earth moves.
Yeah, well said, Yahweh's daughter. How could you not laugh at these absolute dupes? It's so funny. We've debunked them years ago.
Right on this. And again, this has been covered. I covered this before. But I'm going to do it again for this godless engineer clown who has no idea what he's talking about. But in the Michelson-Morley experiment, which of course was the experiment that was designed to measure the 67,000 mile an hour velocity of the Earth around the sun, they obtained what was called a null result. It was what they actually detected was a very, very small percentage of this ether shift, right? They were registering a motion.
Yes.
How does he know?
Yeah, they go on to make the Michelson-Morley into that it looks like Earth is moving, that they were just a little bit off, that they weren't that accurate back then. Just a little bit moving. They flip-flop back and forth between Earth being in motion and the ether in this hangout multiple times. They play it both ways.
Absolutely. But it was nowhere near the 67,000 mile an hour velocity. So what exactly was it that they were picking up?
What was it that they were picking up? Nothing. There was no
would
proof
have been
of
successful if they picked something up. Not a failure.
Right.
Well, in the apparatus that Michelson-Morley used, what was going on there was the interferometer that they were using was still picking up this tangential velocity.
Tangential velocity? He's just making crap up now.
Now I believe he's talking about they shot lasers at mirrors, and the two lasers remained the exact same distance, and they thought if the Earth was moving, it would create a longer path for the light to bounce off the mirrors, and they would get a staggered result. But they were exactly on time together as a result. LIGO LiDAR.
They cover LIGO in this a bunch.
Oh, well, that experiment actually proves that we're still in motionless and that we're in some sort of spiritual simulation realm, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because not only that, the tilt meter, would pick up if the Earth was moving. There would be a drag on it, and there's none. That goes against what they pick up.
They admit all those things, but backhandedly support the notion that Earth is moving and that it's gravity that's responsible for.
What?
Yes. It's they're wicked wizards that have flipped it all around. They support all these lies, and they contradict themselves all in the same hangout. It's unbelievable, man.
Wow.
That was coming from the ether, from the stars, right? So it was actually registering as a very, very, very small percentage of ether movement. But that was not from any forward velocity of the Earth going around the sun. But again, it was picking up those heavenly rotational energies. And this is exactly why they called it
Why does he got to muck it up?
Heavenly rotational energies.
That's not what
result. And I also want to say, guys, by the way, that even with all this heliocentric nonsense, and as bad as the Masons want to convince us that the Earth is moving, if this was really true, if the Earth was really moving, they would have used these experiments and the Sagnac experiment to claim today that this is irrefutable proof of the rotation of the Earth. Guess what? They do not. Why don't they? Because then they would have to explain the null result that was come upon by Michelson-Morley, right? When we were trying to detect a much higher rate of speed through this luminiferous ether, right? But it wasn't there. They tried to do it. They couldn't do it. They didn't want to elaborate on it because they couldn't even prove the rotation of the Earth. They couldn't even prove the rotation of the Earth around the sun. Excuse me. So there's a big problem there.
Wow.
Believe me, if this was
that was mind control. He wants you to believe he's proved the movement of the Earth.
Right. So bad, man.
Wow.
So bad.
Don't you think he would have documented it, published it on the channel?
Yeah, some evidence of it, being that you would be the first to have it.
Absolutely irrefutable. So, Ryan, any comments on that?
Yeah, one thing to know is that Einstein's theory of special relativity or advanced relativity is a result of the Michelson-Morley experiments. And, Einstein had to somehow prove that the Earth was actually moving around the sun. And that's where he invented length contraction, time dilation, and mass increase. And all that was a direct response to the Michelson-Morley experiments, because he had to somehow prove, that the results from the Michelson experiment were wrong. And so he did that by shrinking the actual apparatus that was used to fire the laser, and so the light beam. And so, it's one way to basically refute the results of these experiments is to claim that time dilates, mass increase, and length contracts, when in reality none of that has been observed. And the funny thing that I see all the time, and because I follow various physics journals and whatnot, and they always have to confirm Einstein's theories. And even to this day, they're still any opportunity they get, they will use some sort of evidence to say, oh, Einstein must be right because
it's what he does.
Like their AE map.
No.
Of this, that, or the other thing. And so I find it interesting that they always have to keep reinforcing that Einstein was right, when really there hasn't been a single experimental evidence to show a length contraction, time dilation, or mass increase.
What about any practical scientific application of Einstein physics or inventions? Like if you look at it, I think the only thing he invented was some sort of a
straight, flat, everything's timed perfectly. There's never any interference. The temperature of the sky comes back flat. It's just hilarious that Globebusters tries to take all the truth and just flip it.
Oh, inside out, backwards.
It's easy for us, though.
It's so easy. It's pathetic.
It's given the Adiro units, and they basically have internal mathematics that are programmed by NASA. It's to take a laser ring gyro and to go up and say, oh, it read 15 degrees, 15 degrees rotation. Was that pre-programmed into the unit? Was your $20,000 gyro taken apart and opened up?
So here's a huge conflict. He goes into this section here where he reads this letter from some pilot that sends in this letters, talking about the Adiru system on his airplane, and they take it to the conspiracy that just this one manufacturer has control of it, but some pilot, this guy, his system was down, but they let him fly anyway, and he wasn't off. So the Globebusters are promoting that these systems have electronics in them that are doing calculations to a globe Earth. But the point of the story is the guy didn't need it because we're on a flat, motionless Earth. He didn't need to have these
fly by the stars, if you know.
Yeah, he didn't need to have these calculations in his system because his ring laser gyro did not process. So right here is proof, right, that Bob was wrong. It didn't process 15 degrees an hour. There's these.
I see that's what Bob has actually been trying to do this entire time, was disprove your globe Earth trial point that someone would have to fly and demonstrate the precession of the gyro.
Mm-hmm.
So what Bob's underhandedly trying to do was disprove you on that one point. He's the only one that's made an opposition point to yours, and he didn't come with any evidence at all except for his voice.
Yeah, so you can't have it both ways. You can't say, ring laser gyros don't process. This pilot is proof of a flat Earth while you're doing a hangout saying that Earth processes 15 degrees by a ring laser gyro. But they do that in the same hangout. They do both.
It's crazy.
That's how bad they are, man.
On page 224, he says, the struggle so violently in the early days of science between the views of Ptolemy and Copernicus, which is, an Earth at rest, geocentric or heliocentric, would be quite meaningless. So the struggle is meaningless.
Geocentric or heliocentric? Do you see a problem there?
False dichotomy.
False dichotomy. Over and over and over. That's what these guys do. They just take it to a false dichotomy. And if you're too dumb to notice that they're presenting you with a false dichotomy, you're just going to be their goyim, right? They're just going to laugh because you were too dumb to see it.
Either coordinate system can be used with equal justification. The two sentences, the sun is at rest and the earth moves, or the sun moves around and the earth is at rest, would simply mean two different conventions concerning two different coordinate systems. So to assume, the preferred model, which is the earth moving around the sun, is completely illogical, at least according to Einstein, because according to him, either system can be used, and it just means a different, it just means you're using a different coordinate system.
Right, which is the whole basis of relativity, right? And yet they teach if relativity is real, which means it's all relative. If you're on the earth, it looks like everything's going around you. If you're on the sun, everything would be going around it, etc. If you're able to say that, then why are we teaching children in schools that the earth goes around the sun? When every test, as we just read from Einstein, to the question of whether or not, we've already remarked that all attempts of this nature has led to a negative result until the theory of relativity. And so he just added a theory of relativity.
But they're doing this during the hangout where they're saying that they got 15 degrees of precession per hour.
Mm-hmm.
They really are. That's actually what is happening.
You're right on the dot, and there's been a lot of stuff today that I hadn't even considered, which is definitely going to be digging into this stuff over the next weeks and probably months to try to come up with some answers. But that's a really good observation concerning the moon's gravitational pull. Why isn't that detected at all in any of these devices? At the end of the day, it seems almost I don't know without having hands-on access to the gyro but even with something like LIGO, it's
he doesn't have hands-on access to the gyro, yet he's talking to Bob that has the gyro that proved the Earth processes 15 degrees an hour, right? He's becoming a member of Flat Earth Core. Bob's got the ring laser gyro, $20,000.
Field engineers.
Yeah.
They don't believe in flat Earth.
But he doesn't have access to it, so he'll never be able to prove anything.
there's obviously a lot of questions that we don't have answers to, and there's a lot of problems with the experiments that we're doing and that the sphere earthers do to prove their side of the story.
There's a lot of problems with them. That's very intentional. See, they tell you the truth. He's speaking truth right here. He's telling you how you're being misled to your face.
And so it's a lot of over the last year I've been really immersed in atmospheric refraction and the mathematics revolving that. So when it comes to the interferometer experiments, Michelson-Morley and special relativity, I don't have quite as as a ready to go answer, or there's and the points that you guys have brought up again, like I said, are things I haven't even thought about. And on that note, how many sphere Earth theorists have thought about these type of points? Not very many. I find this.
Did you catch the wizardry there? On that note, and how many sphere Earthers have? He just said a whole bunch of nonsense. He fried people's brains right there.
Has the same answer as Einstein, who in his speech, How I Created the Theory of Relativity, says, I've come to the belief that the motion of Earth cannot be detected by any optical experiment, though the Earth is revolving around the sun. That's their scientific. That's Einstein's scientific.
That's what you guys speak. Yes, double speak.
And we find that everywhere. Like I said, I've been very immersed in atmospheric refraction, and I wanted to learn how to compute atmospheric refraction by hand on paper.
So all the things that they talk about, it's just math, it's math and magic, and he wanted to become very immersed in this and how to calculate it with the math. I still have to find that earlier clip where he explains exactly what's happening from building a simulation standpoint. He lays it down. I got to find that clip again. But yeah, what did you want to say, brother?
Nothing. No.
Okay.
And so I did that. It took, it wasn't an easy thing to do, but in that process, what did I find? I find that you have to plug in the radius of the Earth in order to get your result out. So that lines up exactly with what Einstein says, which is we just assume that the Earth is a sphere, and so we're going to plug that number into our experiments, and when the result comes out to verify, then we'll know it's real. And that's essentially Petitio Principii, which is making the question. You're using a sphere Earth, to prove a sphere Earth. If you're going to prove that the Earth is a sphere because of terrestrial refraction and light bends down so we can see things up, and then you're using in your math formula, 3,959 miles is the Earth's radius. You didn't prove that the Earth's a sphere. You used a spherical Earth to prove a spherical Earth, and that didn't prove anything.
Right. It proves that you assume the Earth is a sphere, and it proves that you're very good with math. Right?
Yeah.
No.
Let's see here. We're getting towards the end of the clips.
People, and then we will kind of wrap it up and get out of here. But as many of you may or may not know, tonight is a super blood wolf moon, or another eclipse that's going on. This will be the last one that happens again until 2021. And prophetically, this is very interesting because this is one of the last.
Did he just say prophetically?
Yeah. Said amen earlier too.
Bob said prophetically. This is really interesting. This is a guy that absolutely despises Christianity and hates the Bible. But he just pointed out that this is the last one until 2021, which is right in the middle of that 7-year span between the Great American Eclipses. And he said prophetically, this is really interesting. Let's listen.
One that happens again until 2021, and prophetically this is very interesting because this is one of the last occasions that happens before essentially the shit hits the fan as far as world happenings. And I think we're already seeing a lot of this stuff happening already, especially with well, a lot of things. And it's unfortunate we didn't get a chance to talk about it, but maybe next week we will. But in any event, it starts tonight, January 20th through 21st. So get your cameras out, get your telescopes out, absolutely pay attention to this eclipse, watch it. Let's see, what we can catch out of it and extrapolate as far as the data. But it does happen tonight. It should be very spectacular. I know I'll be out there with my P900 taking footage of it. And I would advise everybody else to do the same thing. So just wanted to mention
and
that. Yeah, go ahead.
Ask yourself during.
So I'm going to be watching tonight. Bob, if Bob says he's going to be watching and that this is really prophetic, that's pretty ominous to me, brother.
Yeah, they know something.
All right. So this is the guy that they had on the guy that they want to welcome into Flat Earth Core. And what is it? Ryan Zem?
That's some weird stuff I see there, bro. Red flags. Heavy breathing.
Yeah, this Bob's sharing this. So Ryan Zem, he's called a lead physics engineer. That's not good. All right, if this guy has a degree, look at that picture of him, man. Are those like slit reptilian eyes or something?
You can't see the eyes.
It looks like I can see half a slit, but it says a band from Washington, D.C., which shows imagery supporting pedophilia, child abuse, and abduction and rape. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. He made that post 1 hour before Bob shared this. That was very intentional. This was his newest post, Ryan's feed.
Wow.
And so Bob does scroll through it. He's got the one below it. Let's see, I'll move this.
Wow, this is they're showing this, not you. I thought you went to his channel.
No, they're showing this.
That's why I said to you I can't see his eyes, because I thought you could scroll up.
No. We
Wow.
gotta go to Quora.
Wow.
To profile to Ryan Zaim. Lead physics engineer. And the last thing that he showed, and this, he must have actually showed this like during the hangout or something.
Look at the question below that too. So ridiculous. Wow.
Yeah, if two guys are at a bar.
False dichotomy. That one's really easy to teach. What false dichotomy is. There's a third choice, right?
Yep.
What is it?
The moon's not something that we can go to whenever
we never went there. That one should be really easy, people. When people lie and deceive, they give you two options.
I love people in the scientific community getting involved.
Sorry. Yeah, so they make sure to share this guy. This is really creepy that he's got something about he's supporting this, a band from Washington, D.C., which shows imagery supporting pedophilia, child abuse, and abduction and rape. Yeah, so click on this, check it out, right? This band shows this imagery. You got to go check it out quick, man. Super important to check that out.
Involved in this debate. It's probably the best.
Okay, beautiful. Well, let's see. Now we have David saying something about dying laughing. And by the way, I'm showing the Quora page that Ryan is a top commenter on. Like I said, he's got some fabulous information, and we are really glad to have him in the community. And certainly, Ryan, I would love to have you back quite often on Globebusters, as the things that you're studying and in the way that you're doing it are right up our alley, and this is absolutely beautiful. And I will be making the introduction to FE Core as well, because I know that you're very interested in the work that we're doing. So that's cool. So let me see.
You get that?
Yeah.
All right. So, okay. This goes into the ending. And I just catch this all in context, everybody. This is something else. I'm going to go just 1 1/4 on this. There's a new video from somebody, and I can't wait to see your response to it, brother.
Let's do it.
See what it is that David put here. And we'll play this really quick. Okay, what does he say? Trust me. Close the show with this. Okay, David, we're going to trust you. We are going to do a blind reaction to this. We're going to play it. So let's do it. Here we go, guys.
Hello and welcome to No Lies, Don't Disguise. I'm your host, Patricia Steer, and this is impersonating popular flat earth YouTubers.
Is that a boy?
Okay, so mocking the creator there.
Cross-dressing.
Cross-dressing. I love Yeshua on the thing.
Woke on the computer.
Yep.
That's like if you say you're woke, you're not a truth seeker, right?
Yeah.
I love Yeshua.
Who says flat Earth?
Hey, aren't you one of D Noble's disciples?
Oh, what? No, you got the wrong.
Look who's in the house.
Yeah. That's his wife, I think. One of them, the blonde one.
Guy, dude.
No, I'm pretty sure I saw you.
No.
No, I'm pretty sure it's you. I remember your voice. I remember seeing you at Skyfall.
No. Wasn't me. Sorry. Wrong guy.
He replied, have you heard of CGI? Oh, that's just faking everything that you have ever seen. And as for flying to the moon, well, they ain't never been. Indeed, my friend, their lying scum is there for you to see. Just take some time, look into it, and the truth will set you free.
That's a child.
If you want to bust the globe, I know these guys. Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call?
That's just why I think there's no curve. Hey, random guys. Have you guys heard about flat Earth? Got a pamphlet right here. Actually, do you guys have a house? Because I need somewhere to stay.
Wow.
Hello. Go say hi.
That must be Greer.
I'm Robbie Davidson. To celebrate the next year's Flat Earth International Conference, we're taking it to the next level in Antarctica.
No dogs allowed.
Friends, I was on my knees yesterday and God told me everything Rob Skiba says is wrong. So wrong.
Right.
And that's why I think the Earth is flat. Boom, I win the debate. Thank you.
I love the records taped up on the wall.
Hey everyone, thank you for patiently waiting so long for that video. In my defense, it took so long and it was so hard to film, but I managed to pull through with a lot of inspiration from my sister and a lot of heavy pushing from my mom. So until next time, stay young, stay cool, and stay woke.
That was awesome. Wow. I love it.
That was absolutely precious and priceless. I loved it. Okay, so that was No Lies, Dome Skies, aka Summer Lowen, and thank you for that, Summer.
What do you think, brother?
They'll go to any lengths.
The amount of contradictions that's there is just unbelievable. All the fake flat earthers were being mocked by that person, Owen, whatever, if it's a boy, girl, whatever it is.
It's a girl.
And
pretty sure.
Especially the religious people were being mocked. All right, that's what John and Bob were laughing the most about. Anytime they said God or something, or or a religious person was being talked about. Super funny. They got mocked. Flat Earth got mocked. And the Globebusters just mocked everybody. That's what they ended on. So they're not even hiding it anymore. This episode was about Earth moving, and they played that, where you've got Flatworth, who's in the video, who like lives in the house, like Robbie Davidson's house now or something. Because that Owen, all she does is promote Robbie. She was at the Flat Earth convention. That's like supposedly where they met Flatworth.
Calgary or whatever.
And now he's in the house and they're mocking flat earthers.
Mm-hmm. And Christians. I don't know, man. I'm at a loss for words. I just, it doesn't surprise me. They'll do to get the views, they'll go to any lengths.
That's not even to get the views. I mean, I think they're just full out really mocking flat earth now. They've turned against it hard. Like, they're not even trying to hide that they're not flat earthers anymore.
Well, Bob was just saying that, prove that the sky was moving. That was his only defense. It's the sky, it's the sky. But he did put it in the Gaussian chamber, right?
And that didn't change the results. And they never did the Bristling or whatever. So that never happened. And so I guess the result stands that it was moving. He was never able to prove that it wasn't Earth that was moving.
Crazy. And then they end with a girl mocking all the flat earth fake channels. Why didn't she do David Weiss?
She did.
I didn't see him.
Yeah, it's in there.
I think she just wants to be an actor. I don't know. I don't really have much to say. I it's awfully kind of like
David Weiss, when she mocked David Weiss, this was
I was on my knees yesterday, and God told me
on her knees.
Everything
That's
Rob
inappropriate.
Stevens says is wrong. So wrong.
I don't know why it's not funny.
It's not funny at all.
It's the fake fight.
Boom, I win the debate. Thank you.
No, funny. See, David Weiss.
Okay.
You can tell that David's the one that paid for this. He doesn't really get mocked at all.
He does his experiments in the kitchen. Does he own Flat Earth Clues?
He must. Yeah. Yeah, he's probably the guy that bought and paid for Mark Sargent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what you want to do, brother? It's already almost 10.
Yeah, 11 here. I guess we can just finish it off if you want. I just see what they enjoy watching the disinformation go, and they like watching the fake flat earthers, and they like watching the fake globe earthers, and they love mocking both of them at the same time. And I think that anybody that's tuning in should really, do a search on our channels about Globebusters and go back 3 years and really watch the progression through. And it's well tagged. Every video that we've ever done about the Globebusters will be tagged with the Globebusters information in the video. You just search it on our channels. I'm kind of at a loss for words for it. I'm looking forward to maybe Wednesday we'll do some scriptures. Maybe the eclipse, that'll be it. Maybe there'll be some sort of a big event that takes place.
Yeah, well, in about a half an hour, that blood moon eclipse is going to be taking place out here. So
you should film it, bro, if you can.
Yeah, I was hoping to film it.
So, and everyone else that's listening too, hopefully if you guys you have a camera with any type of zoom, 30 to 60 times zoom, then you could probably get some great shots too. It won't be as good on your iPhone, right? Unfortunately, you can't get zoomed in that close, especially when a celestial object is high in the sky. It's the toughest time to film.
One at night, the contrast, the lighting, the lux, all that kind of stuff. It's tough.
It's interesting though, because I have noticed, but I guess it's still a non-factor if I bring up the fact that the weather got real cold and real windy during this event. But could that just happen anyways?
It probably can just happen.
But after the eclipse, we had Harvey, right?
That's true. Yeah, well, it was sort of ominous the way Bob handled it. Hopefully he knows that something big is going to be shaking down. We're looking forward to it. We can't wait.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jason, for putting the time in and sharing this with everybody, and everything else that we went through tonight. It was a lot of fun. I'm super thankful and humble, and I'm looking righteously at how I can be more righteous, and I'm trying to figure out what my next steps are as someone that creates content. And I hope all you people out there as well are doing the same thing. We could use more content creators. Share your truth.
Yep. And well, where did you hear this, brother?
Only beyond Flat Earth.